Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today on Mastering E-commerce Navigation and Design with some insights from Imprint Plus. I'm Sergio, partner and CEO here at Brain & Code, and I'll be your host today. I also would like to present to you who we're going to have with us today. So we're going to have Mel Shih, our Expert UX Strategist from Brain & Code, and Andrew Rozdale, Digital Commerce and Marketing Manager from Imprint Plus. Give you a little background about Imprint Plus. Imprint Plus is a leader in brand identification and employee recognition products since 1982. They are a top source for custom and reusable name badges and other unique identification solutions. You have very likely seen their name badge before, and many people know Imprint Plus for their flagship product, the Mighty Badge, which is a patented reusable identification system utilized by Fortune 500 companies worldwide. Imprint Plus services over 77,000 businesses in 90 different countries, ranging from small to large brands such as Marriott, Choice Hotels, 7-Eleven, Nordstrom, Signet Jewelries, and RBC, just to name a few. Recently, Brain & Code completed a homepage and navigation redesign for Imprint Plus e-commerce website. Well, together, we'll walk you through the best practice for creating an effective homepage and navigation design, focusing on user experience. We'll also discuss what metrics you can use to measure the effectiveness of a navigation and homepage redesign, and wrap up with real-world results from the redesign initiatives on the Imprint Plus e-commerce website. You have probably noticed that, there's a chat over there. So feel free to ask us any questions at any time, and we'll save some time for Q&A at the end of the presentation. Of course, if the time allows, we're going to answer all of them. If not, we'll do our best to answer via email. We'll also have, which is really important to remind you guys, a draw for the free UX audit giveaway to one lucky person who registered for this webinar. This e-commerce audit is the same one we perform on our clients' websites to assess their customers' shopping journey and provide prioritized, actionable recommendations with the goal to improve conversion and customer satisfaction, so you don't miss out on this. My goal is to keep this webinar to under 30 minutes, so I'll do my best. So we've got a lot to cover, so let's get started on what really matters. So first of all, we'll discuss why navigation is a critical aspect of any effective e-commerce website. Mel, do you mind to share why an intuitive navigation is so important?
Sure, Sergio, and thanks for that intro. Based on a recent Baymard Institute UX benchmark study of 130 plus e-commerce sites, you'll be shocked to find that there are 76% of these e-commerce sites where, when assessing homepage and category navigation performance, it's only rated at mediocre to poor. So that's pretty bad. There is so much room for improvement. I think as an industry, where we see the most issues is definitely on the topic of category taxonomy, which we'll cover in this webinar today. And so why, you asked, why is navigation important on an e-commerce site? Well, think of your website like a department store or a grocery store. You walk into a store, the aisles are confusing, signs are missing, products are scattered just randomly on the shelves. Things are not where you expect, right? And so you'd likely leave without making a purchase, or you might just go in, have a really difficult time finding that one thing you're looking for, and then not want to browse and add more to your shopping cart that you're pushing around, or virtually in the e-commerce store, your virtual cart, right? Or just to get a bit more specific, I buy a lot of honey at home. So if you go into a grocery store looking for honey, where are you going to go? Is honey a condiment or is it a sauce? And I go to the grocery store for honey often, and believe it or not, I still go to the wrong aisle, or I go to one grocery store and I find it at the baking ingredients aisle, and I go to another grocery store and all of a sudden it's not there, it's in the condiment aisle. And so it drives me crazy. And so the same goes for your e-commerce website. Users need a clear, intuitive navigation and categorization structure to find what they're looking for easily and quickly. You want to group related items together, use clear descriptive labels, product filters, and other wayfinding tools. So we'll share a bit more about that as we progress in the webinar.
Well, I definitely can relate to that. Walking through 3 or 4 aisles in the grocery store just to find one item, definitely not an experience I want to have, or you want your users to have on your website. And then Andrew, from the client perspective, could you share any specific navigation issues you observed on the Imprint Plus site before all the redesign we did?
Yeah, of course, Sergio. So over time, we identified a few issues on our previous navigation, but mainly three things. So first, our drop-downs in the existing site were difficult to use for our users and challenging to maintain on the back end. So it required our customers to use like an L-shaped mouse movement when they were looking for a product. So they would go down and to the right to be able to select. The second thing was taxonomy issues, and our category names didn't really reflect our product range, and it didn't really allow for growth. The third is we often had our B2B customers making purchases in the wrong areas and not realizing that they had a portal made just for their brand. So these were all the things that we needed to address with our navigation.
Good. And Mel, could you share how we address these issues in the redesign?
Yeah, of course. Well, why don't we take a look at the before and after? Because definitely an image is going to illustrate it better than me trying to describe it. So here you can see what the Imprint Plus header looked like, including the navigation, utilities, what we call the items on the far right, such as the search, cart, login. So this was before the redesign. You might think, like, when you look at this, oh, it looks pretty good, right? Pretty solid. Well, let's dive into some of the issues that we noticed. When we redesigned navigation, we look at the labels that are at the top, and you can't really tell in that first few seconds what it is that Imprint Plus has to offer, right? And so you see this in a lot of big box stores like Amazon's or IKEA, right? And they have that products drop down, but think of the number of the SKUs that they have compared to your site as a merchant. And so this strategy, when you're just trying to emulate another site and think that you're going to have an effective navigation, doesn't always work for all merchants. And so if you look at the after, and we can compare the two, we like to focus on a product category first strategy. So because that existing site had products as the first main navigation label, this means that visitors had no visibility until they hovered over the drop-down menu. In that first few critical seconds, they arrive to the site, they might mistakenly think that you don't have what they're looking for and just abandon your sites without making a purchase. So to solve this issue, you could see that we made all the product categories the first level of the main navigation, nicely laid out horizontally below the logo in the search bar. And so these changes not only improve the user experience, but this also does a lot to enhance your site's SEO because it makes important keywords visible. And so we'll share a bit about the results that we saw in the rankings, which is definitely a positive impact to the change. You heard Andrew share that they had an issue with the B2C and the B2B login being confused. And so if you look at the before, I know it's a bit small in the screenshot, but hopefully you can see it. There's a light gray bar at the very top. That first item, the link that says branded e-store, was their B2B login. And so that B2B login had visibility issues, not only, right, because it is placed up there, but you see in the white area, so below that, the branded e-store, contact us, and the phone number link, you see a login link with an icon. That B2C login with the icon was getting a lot of visibility. And so when you compare it to the after, you can see that we have now renamed the B2B area as portal. And so all links in the header of the sites, we clearly differentiated from the B2C login. We also positioned the portal login directly next to the B2C login so that our B2B users are less likely to default to the login link. And that way it's giving them that choice by grouping these two related elements together. Now let's take a look at the drop downs. I've got a screenshot to show you guys to compare the before and after as well. So the existing sites drop down had usability issues. So Andrew mentioned that L-shaped pattern that users had to scan. So when you hover over the products label in the main navigation, then you get this drop-down menu that appears below. Users had to scan and vertically mouse over the parent product categories. So that's the gray area. You see name badges, signs, ID cards, etc. Then once they hover the one that they want to select, then they move their eyes horizontally now to the subcategories to the right. And so this really slows down the user's ability to scan the category labels because they're going vertically and horizontally. And in addition, you can see the dropdown uses a grid of thumbnails and text. you might think that having images helps improve usability or just visually looks better, right? Like you want to showcase your products to users, but there's a place for that. The listing page, product detail page, or the home page, which we'll talk about. But in most cases, in a drop down, you have the challenge of selecting an image that is representative of the entire category. So in Imprint Plus's case, as an example, the image you see used for the first option, the reusable metal name badges, is a huge misrepresentation of that category. There are a whopping 75 different products within that category. It includes metal name badges that come in various colors, sizes, shapes, oval, rectangular, and square badges. You'd never be able to tell this from the dropdown in that image, right? And so you can see how using an image in these cases may actually cause the user to ignore categories based on their impression of the image, when in fact the category does match their need. Like there is that oval one they're looking for. And so to address this is the redesign after state. And so we simplified the drop-down menus layout. And you can see that we recommended the use of text in organized columns, which made it much easier for the user to scan and quickly understand the product range. The subcategory headings are clickable. And also there's the view all link in case the user doesn't want to narrow down as far as the second or third level links. And it made it easier for them to get to where they want to go to find the product and make that purchase. We still use images, but we reserve them for marketing banners or featured categories in designated spots. So you can see there's still images and graphics over on the right-hand side.
Oh, that's great. Well, we'll look at design a homepage that captures attention and drives action. Andrew, could you share the specific homepage issues you observed on the Imprint Plus site prior to the redesign?
Yeah, definitely. So before the redesign, the Imprint Plus homepage had a few issues. So the homepage didn't really effectively showcase our product range. And although users could find reusable name badges, they often were unaware of all the other products that we sell, such as lapel pins, nameplates, name badge accessories like badge talkers or medallions. And in addition, we needed a homepage that showcased our great reviews and better communicated the Imprint Plus difference. So also giving better guidance for our B2B customers to get to their portals was key for us.
Mm-hmm. And then Mel, now from our agent's perspective and putting that in action, can you walk us through the key homepage design guidelines and the change we implemented for Imprint Plus to address the issues they were facing before?
Yeah, of course. So redesigning your homepage is always exciting. It is your brand's first impression for your customers. So it needs to be effective and compelling. When we look at where traffic is coming into the site, it's typically the homepage that gets the most traffic and unfortunately, therefore, the most drop-off. So you do want to address that if that is an issue that you're seeing in your analytics. The homepage is a great place to start if you're looking to improve the UX UI of your e-commerce site. You might not have the time, appetite, or the budget to redesign your entire site. And so the homepage is definitely something to consider as that starting point of a redesign if you want to do just a smaller scope of it. The goal of the homepage is always to get your users to a product collection along with the navigation, right? So you need to get them to that collection or the category and then ultimately to that product detail page before they're going to convert and add something to cart. So I'd like to focus on that. So with any homepage redesign, we want to take a look at what's above the fold. Include calls to action that speaks to customers at various points of their purchase journey, because they're all different. And whether they're just looking to browse products. So in this above the fold screenshot that you see on the screen right now, that green button for shop name badges, they're just looking to browse products, right? So you want them to go to that most popular category or your recommended category that you know the majority of users are going to want to visit quickly without any delay. And beside that, you see we have a request a quote. So some users are not going to shop the catalog as is. They know exactly what they're looking for. And that might be your B2B customer. So they just want to request a quote and talk to someone, speak to one of your specialists or someone on your CSR teams or sales and say, hey, this is exactly what I need in my order. Can you guys provide this and provide a tailored estimate perhaps, right? Or like Andrew spoke about one of the pain points we were trying to address with the Imprint Plus homepage and the header redesign is that B2B and B2C confusion, right? And so we wanted to provide a very clear link without dominating the other calls to action that I just spoke about, but provide that link to the B2B portal. So you could see below the main call to action, so primary, secondary, we also have a tertiary link for login to your portal. And you see here, we also like renamed it as we spoke about, like it's the Plus Client Portal. So the branding, the link itself says portal, so the messaging is a lot clearer. You want to establish trust and credibility right above the fold before they even scroll down. And so being able to highlight the brand's unique selling propositions high up is important. You can do this in a number of ways. So you can see we provided social proofs for reviews and trust badges, integrate third-party review platforms. So Imprint Plus has Trustpilot reviews. So we incorporated that excellent rating that they have and the star rating right up in the header below the call to action. So it just helps reinforce that conversion right there in those links. And yeah, and it just like when you're using a third party, it just appears that much more credible to users. And also the USPs, right? Fast lead times, quality of their service, and also the products, service excellence, and such. And then the navigation. So because we've now redesigned the header, you do want to make sure that your homepage is aligned with the categories and the category taxonomy that you use. And so those categories that you saw across the top in the header, we want to showcase that on the homepage because some users are very visual. They're going to scroll down. They're looking for the images. They don't even want to use the navigation, right? And so here you see directly below the header, we're showcasing a broad range of product types. And these blocks mirror the categories that you saw in the header. There's a general rule for showcasing your products on the homepage. I see a lot of e-commerce sites where the first area for subcategories or feature products, they're just showing a few, right? And so you then risk the user thinking that, oh, okay, they only sell name badges or they only sell nameplates. And they had no idea that you also sell signs and lapel pins and ID card printers and such, right? So you do want to aim to showcase at least 40%. So that's a magic number, 40%, if more, even better, without looking cluttered, 40% of your product range on your homepage. So it's important for both the new and the repeat visitors. For new users, you want them to quickly see the diverse selection of products you offer. And for repeat visitors, you want to increase their average order value. They might have always ordered name badges, but they didn't know that you also offer nameplates that could actually match and look and feel and branding and quality to their name badges, right? And so you want to do this by exposing more products that they may be interested in. And high quality images, we spoke about the drop-down menu, and I don't have the before shot, but trust me, the images that were in the before, it was also, for name badges, it was also one name badge. And so it wasn't really representative of the range and the diversity in the products, right? And it also didn't reflect the high quality of the products. And so the thickness of the badges, and you can see here in the updated product images that we worked with Imprint Plus to shoot and then add to the homepage, that it's a lot better representation of what they offer in terms of quality. And so as you scroll down the homepage, make sure that you have a badge of the trust and credibility. But if you have good reviews that you could add from hopefully third-party platforms, then provide additional detailed social proof further down the page. So as they scroll down, they know what you offer now. Well, again, like, why should we trust you? Why should we buy from you and not your competitor, right? So we've incorporated a section where it's a slider with more reviews and then the badge repeated, and a call to action to see all reviews if the customer wants to read more. Another thing is offer thematic browsing. And so not all users will want to browse by product category. Imagine when they walk into the store, they might go, hey, like I work at a casino, or they call up your customer service rep, right? And so I work at ABC Casino and we need name badges and we have a huge turnover problem. And so, we're looking for something that we can print ourselves and then be able to reuse the hardware, like of the name badges, right? And just reprint labels. And so they identify themselves by the industry. And so make sure that you're not only offering the product categories as a way of wayfinding and filtering and getting to the products, but also offer thematic browsing. So in the case of Imprint Plus, we gave users a list of 15 industries like the casinos, restaurants, hospitality, and they may find it relevant to do their product search through this avenue rather than the categories themselves. And so there's more on the homepage, but there's a lot of details that we probably can't cover in a 30-minute webinar. And so these strategies not only enhance the user experience, but also increase the likelihood of conversion. A well-designed homepage can significantly reduce bounce rates and encourage users to explore more.
Well, that's awesome. Great. But who knows me and worked with me before knows that I see everything that you said as great. And I think strategy and design, it's something that we really need to focus on a website. But what really matters and what everybody cares about is ROI, right? So, and the first question that comes to me is why put time and money into making these types of changes? Can you tell us about the metrics that can help evaluate the effectiveness of a homepage and navigation redesign?
Yeah, for sure. I know numbers speak louder than the nice designs. And so, yeah, to measure ROI of a navigation restructure and homepage redesign project, there's so many metrics, right? So I'm not going to go over all of them in detail. There's lots of articles online that you can also read up on. And so I think it won't be a good use of our time. But just as an example on this slide, you can see like we can monitor a number of key metrics. They include things like user engagement, search, behavior flow, conversion, SEO, speed and performance, customer feedback, revenue, and many more. And so I think what everybody is more interested to hear is actually like, let's take a look at the key results of the Imprint Plus redesign. Because you could say what metrics, but if you can't deliver on them, then it's all talk, right? So the first one we want to go over is user engagement. And so the two things we're going to look at here is pages per session and bounce rate. And so when you have a well-structured navigation and also a well-designed homepage that encourages engagement, pages per session is how we define that is like you're measuring the average number of pages users visit in a particular session, right? In a unique session. So we can see if that improved navigation and content is giving the users more interest and has a bigger impact. And so they're going to visit more pages because they saw maybe when they came to the site and they look at the navigation and they looked at one link, what they were looking for when they came. But then beside that, or in the next column, or because the drop downs are so easy to use, they saw something else of interest. So after they visit one page, they're going to go to another, right, before they leave their site. It might not be something they buy now, but it might affect a future purchase. Bounce rates definitely is a great metric to monitor when you're doing a redesign. And so comparing the bounce rate before and after can show if users are finding the site more relevant and engaging.
Right.
And share some Imprint Plus.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mel. So when digging into the numbers, so the average number of pages viewed per visit, it increased from 2 to 2.8. And that's a 40% increase, which suggests to me that our users are exploring more content on the site. For bounce rate, there was a dramatic decrease, dropping from 83.65% in May to 59.65% in June. And this 24% decrease is substantial, and it indicates significantly fewer users are leaving the site after viewing only one page.
Looking at the performance metrics, and we can look at page load time, mobile performance. And so page load time is measuring the average time it takes for a page to load. It's crucial because faster load times improves not only the user experience, so you're not looking at a loading page, but it ultimately affects SEO. So Google definitely cares about your page load time. Mobile performance, so we know a lot of users, we used to say like more B2C and less B2B, but we know that I don't like to admit, but workaholics. And so you might be doing something for work, you're on your computer or your laptop and you've got that desktop display, but you're like, oh, I wasn't done browsing and I need to answer to my manager what name badge that we need to order, right? And so I'm going to be commuting and not driving, hopefully, but it's commuting. And like on the train, I might be pulling up the same page on my phone. And so not only does that experience has to be consistent, but it should perform equally as well as your desktop, right? And so looking at a redesign like this, not only should your header and homepage be optimized, that your entirety of the site should be optimized. And so tracking performance metrics for specifically mobile users will help ensure that with that redesign effort, you're offering a better mobile user experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So the improved SEO performance scores indicated to us that the site has become optimized better for search engines and increased visibility. So we can see here, so for mobile SEO performance score, we went from 60 to 75, and for desktop, we went from 64 to 75. And we still have work to do, and we still have work to do in raising these numbers, but that was a significant increase since we've been trying for a long time to raise this score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then so let's take a look at the keyword visibility, because it's great that Google thinks your site is good. Of course, they're going to rank you higher, but then are you getting the results you need for SEO metrics? And so a couple things you could look at. There's a lot more, but the top two that I want us to go over is organic traffic and keyword rankings. And so organic traffic, tracking the number of visitors coming from search engines would indicate better SEO performance due to optimized content and structure. You might have seen when I paused on that homepage where we had the subcategory tiles, for example, we're not only providing image-based links, but we have a small sentence above that grid of thumbnails where we've got text-based links as well to other keywords, and also the navigation. We talked about reorganizing the navigation so the keywords are higher, and in that primary navigation rather than buried a second level or a third level down deep in the navigation structure. And so all of that is going to help with your organic traffic. Keyword rankings, so monitoring the rankings of target keywords. I'm sure with anybody who is dedicating efforts in SEO, it is kind of like a race with your competitors, right? You do one thing and they do one thing, and you have to regularly monitor your keyword rankings. And with a redesign effort like this, obviously you're looking for successful results on the keywords that you've been monitoring. Yeah, Andrew, what have you guys seen?
Yeah, so the visibility trend that we're seeing here on the screen, it's suggesting imprintplus.com has generally improved its search engine presence for our tracked keywords. So the consistent higher level that we see after launch date there, after that June 10th date, indicates a substantial improvement in our website search engine performance for our targeted keywords. So it's really important that our customers are able to find us. So many of our customers may, of course, they may need to order new name badges, and they might remember us by name, or they might remember, maybe they don't remember our brand name, but they remember the product. So it's really important they're able to find us through our notable keywords here. So some of the more notable improvements were keywords such as printable name tags had the most dramatic improvement, jumping 41 positions. Lapel pins improved by 24 positions, and plastic name tags moved up 11 spots.
So those are great numbers.
Mm-hmm. And it's an ongoing effort for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Then customer feedback. So we talked about that B2B, B2C login confusion. And so what Imprint Plus has shared with us during the discovery process, and a pain point they wanted to address with this redesign of both the header and the homepage, is that there's a lot of calls coming in and their CSR team is fielding because of that confusion. Like that B2B customer is now having made an order or like started an order or logged into an account on the B2C side of their business, and they're not seeing what they expect. So the user becomes suspicious, right? They're like, yeah, like, I think I'm in the wrong place. And then so they pick up the phone and call, right? And so with a redesign like that, when you know you're addressing a pain point, we know that with e-commerce sites, we strive for users to be able to self-serve. So then it lowers the overhead of your internal CSR teams, right? And so, and the time and the budget that's spent on that. And so looking at customer feedback is very important. So you could gather feedback on the volume of calls, the topics that people are calling in for. So your customer support platform, whatever you choose to use, you should be able to tag the calls and categorize them to look at some of those metrics on a regular basis. And so we were looking specifically for like calls coming in for technical issues and like such as the trouble logging in, right? And so, yeah, Andrew, what have you guys seen?
Yeah, so we have a fully staffed customer service team here at Imprint Plus, and the number of chat messages for customer support decreased by 14.6%. The number of calls decreased by 24.5%. And this is obviously quite a substantial reduction in overhead for our CSRs, spending time on communicating things that our website can do for them.
Wow, that's great. That's really good numbers. And then better to have calls from clients that need support from the CSR on upselling or upscaling sales than just asking, hey, where I am on your website, where do I click to log into my portal? That's really good.
Completely agree.
Definitely. And so related topic, the B2B engagement on B2C site, right? And so the before you can see on the left, those high bars, especially that red one right there, is the incorrect B2B registrations happening on the B2B site. So there is a bit of like transition that needs to take place. So of course, like the numbers down to 0, but you could see like that the B2B versus B2C login confusion, the data shows an improvement in redirecting these B2B customers. So it's an educational process, right, to get them to the correct platform. And so definitely the new homepage indicates that it's providing a clear direction to put the B2B customers in the right place of the site.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely right. And so we've already seen a 2.4% increase for B2B customers placing their orders in the right spot. And we've also noticed an 8.48% reduction in incorrect B2B registrations on our B2C site.
That's also good. Okay.
And over to you, Mel.
I think we got just one more metric to show. So heat maps. So we talked about behavior flow analysis as one of those metrics in that big slide with all the different examples, right? And so I think this is very critical for any like UX designer who is looking at redesigns. You may think with your many years of experience designing, I'm still surprised all the time, right? And so you do want to take a look at the data after the redesign, because you can, like with websites, the beauty of a website is it's like incremental improvements, right? So you have a lot of hypotheses and theories as to how you can resolve some issues. But after redesign, it's always important to check, like, well, that those things come true, like that your solutions work to address the issues, right? And heat maps are very powerful in that sense. Like you can see where users are clicking on your web page. And so you can see, like, is the redesign of the header and the homepage elements or any other landing pages that you're redesigning, are people now seeing and clicking and interacting with the elements that you want them to? So just to highlight a few insightful nuggets here in this screenshot. I know it's small, but and I'll point you guys to what I'm looking at. The screenshot above is the before state of the redesign, including both the header and that just the top portion, because there's so much down the page. But the screenshot below that at the bottom is the after. And so that previous positioning of the B2B login we talked about, in that before state, you can see we already renamed it to Plus Client Portal. So it's starting to use that naming convention, but before the repositioning and the redesign of the header, right? And so you could see it's getting almost no clicks. And so you could tell that by the colored splotches, right? And so the blue is getting clicks. And as it gets more yellow and red, so warmer, kind of like on a heat map, right? And so those are getting the most clicks, right? And so you can see that small link in that gray header that says Plus Client Portal is receiving almost like no clicks. And compared to the new design and the positioning of the portal, so I know the heat map splotches are covering it, but if you remember, it's that really bright orange one, that's the BDC login. So of course, we're still seeing people logging in, right? And the element to the left that has that blue haze on it, that's that portal link with the portal icon. And so you could see that portal link now positioned, so renamed and positioned beside the BDC login, is receiving a fair bit of engagement. And so that's very positive to see. People are finding it. They know that's something that they were looking for, coming to the site to log in, and they're engaging with it. And so you could also see users are now engaging more with the site search. And so that search on the top was on the far right, and it didn't have a number. So you can see it's marked like the top 3 elements that people click, right? And so the search now repositioned above the main menu is getting a lot more click-throughs. And this is like, it depends on your site. So I want to say, like, with all these strategies, it's important to tailor to your site, your industry, your users, right? And look at their behavior. Some sites you might want users to browse, like what's a good example, like apparel or something, like a fashion brand, right? You want to browse, and so you want them to use the categories, and so you might hide the search actually and not even have the input field. You might just have an icon, and so you really de-emphasize that. But in the case, especially if you are tailoring to both B2B and B2C customers, so B2B customers might have a specific SKU, or they already know, like they've ordered that Mighty badge before and they're coming to reorder that Mighty badge. That site search is very important to place prominently, and have also, we didn't talk about it and not going to in this webinar, but I could do another whole webinar on it, but like the search, right? And how the results should present helpful inputs and suggested results. And when you get down to the page, how you filter your search, right? And so in the case of B2B, like that search is very important, so that in that split second, like users get to where they need, right? And so you can see a lot more engagement there. With the heat maps, because they're not showing that hover state, so it's difficult to see here, especially like it's small in this presentation. But you can see the little blue dots kind of throughout that main header. It's not that people are clicking on, yeah, those, thanks, Sergio, there, on the image or that white space with nothing, right? But they're actually engaging with the dropdown. So that's very positive to see as well, because you could see much less of that in the previous design. And the subcategories, and if you remember that screenshot that we had with the columns of the links, that is getting a lot more action. And so we know people are getting to the place that they need to be a lot quicker. And lastly, if you notice in the after, that big green button that says shop name badges is now specific to a category, getting a lot of clicks. The comparison and the before, you see the green button that's below that white heading in the main header that just says, I think, shop now, right? It was generic. Didn't tell the user what category they are. They'd have to read the heading and then understand to click shop now. Wasn't getting any clicks. And so very few that it didn't even register on a heat map. So it's all, it's very interesting to see. And there's a lot more insights we can draw, but those are some of the key ones that I wanted to share.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks a lot, Mel. That definitely makes a lot of sense. We're seeing the same thing on our side. So, I mean, as you can see from the previous homepage, the main portal login, it's in the banner. So looking at that top image, you'll see where it says Plus Client Portal, and there's the login. But what we noticed was through our user testing, we saw many, many examples of customers just basically going up and to the right. So of course, people are less inclined to read online, and they would just naturally go up and to the right because it's just a habit. And this is something we all do as well. Like if you're on any website, if you're on any app and you want to log in, you might notice yourself looking up and to the right when wanting to log in. So the new homepage and navigation design addresses this, and we can see from the heat map that more people are now correctly going to our B2B portals. And one more thing here is that you can see on the new site that people are interacting with that portal login in the top right corner. What it doesn't show here is if upon hover, there is a bit of a drop down, and it shows some of the main brands that we service within that portal. So it really just helps reinforce or emphasize that is a portal for our bigger brands that need to order their brand approved products.
Well, I thank you both, because those metrics are really quite impressive. And again, they kind of provide what I was looking for, like the numbers, so we can evaluate the impact of our redesigns on the website. I apologize, we're a little bit over time here. So I'm gonna open for the Q&A for some questions that we received from the audience. Unfortunately, I will say that we're not going to be able to cover all. So we definitely, I would take the first 3 ones we received. And for the other ones that we couldn't cover, we're going to do our best to answer via email after. So for the first question here is, how do your strategies differ between B2C and B2B customers? I think that will be better for Andrew, I believe.
Yeah, sure. I can answer this one. So our B2B customers they've brand approved products, as I was mentioning before. And so they know what they want to order, and they want to order fast, and they want to order easy. And so they may have also unique shipping and billing. Our B2C customers, they may be seeing us for the first time. They may want to explore, they may want to design things like our name badges for their brand. And of course, they want things to be fast and easy too, but they're more likely to explore. And so those are just in an oversimplified way, that's a bit of a difference between the two. But with this new homepage, it had to be a hybrid of both of these audiences. But that has an added benefit where our B2C customers were able to see the big brands that we service, and then our B2B customers can see also the breadth of what we sell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, good. Thanks for answering. The other question we received here was, how can I ensure my homepage effectively engages both new and returning visitors? I think Mel, you mentioned something about it, so if you don't mind, do you mind to answer this one?
Yeah, so I spoke about this already, but I'll expand a bit on it. And so to engage both new and returning visitors, your homepage should be visually compelling or visually appealing with high quality images, clear calls to action, which when we were looking at the redesign, you could see like meet your users where they're at in their purchase journey, right? And so make sure that you're not just pigeonholing to one and not ignoring all the others. You should have emphasis, like priority and emphasis. And so decide who your primary target audience is and who needs that primary call to action to just encourage them to take that first action, right? And those that could be the secondary and the tertiary. And on different landing pages, that might be different, right? But just speaking specifically on the homepage, so new visitors, highlight your unique selling points and your top products. So like you saw directly below your hero header, we had the unique selling propositions about the fast lead times and such, which is very important in this industry. People need their name badges fast, right? And so that fast delivery is very, very important. For returning visitors who are already familiar, hopefully, with your USPs and they love your product and your brand, then they're coming back because they want easy access to their account, make a reorder, right? And so you definitely don't want to set up barriers for them. Access their account easily, so no confusion with the login. Don't send them to the wrong place, and all of a sudden they're already a repeat customer, and they're having a frustrating experience trying to even get to their account to make a reorder, right? And so you definitely need to address that if that is a pain point. They might want to take a look at their previous orders, so being able to quickly log in again and get to their order history or like a shipping track shipments and such, right? And so getting order status updates, that is very important. And with repeat customers, you also have the advantage of knowing them, like at those B2B accounts, you know their industry, like, so you know that they are in the casino or the food and beverage industry. And so you could serve up personalized recommendations, whether it is like on those landing pages, you start to play with like personalized content. And so the banners speak to them. And so they feel like, yeah, like Imprint Plus offers products for my industry, like restaurants, and all the images that they see and marketing banners are tailored to them. Or when they log into the portal, maybe they have some messaging or images that are tailored to them. And so I think that also helps to effectively engage the returning visitor, so they feel like this is home, right? Like, and so they will come back. And so consistent branding, so regardless of what you experiment with, so just make sure that you still have consistent branding. The fundamentals of good usability, so having a user-friendly layouts and also effective navigation that we talked about are still key. So don't lose those as you're experimenting.
Good, thanks. And then I'm gonna just jump in on the last question here. How often should I review and update my e-commerce site's navigation and homepage? Mel, do you mind to answer this one?
Yeah, sure. Not too long. So if you haven't redesigned your homepage or looked at your navigation or even like opened up Google Analytics to look at your metrics for 3 months, like you definitely need to. And so it's important to regularly review and update. That's just, it goes without saying. And the reasons are like, even though you might have had a fantastic design at the beginning, right? And you worked hard to get to where you were, and whatever is up now live on your site, your category, navigation, homepage might have been very effective, and and maybe you spoke directly to customers and they're making good purchases, but you have to understand that user behaviors change, industry trends change, right? And so when you look at, or just think about yourself, right? Like when you look at how you were navigating a site and how you were using mobile a year ago compared to now, and people using voice to search. And so there's so many different features and functionalities that are just what used to be new and trendy is now the norm, right? And so user behaviors and industry trends definitely change. And so if you're not redesigning, it's you're falling behind on what's best practice. So I would say a good practice is to conduct a comprehensive review at least once every quarter, or at a minimum once a year. Like if you're looking at the review once every quarter, you might pick out some low-hanging fruit. Like you might say, like I was suggesting with the homepage, you might not redesign your whole site, right? You might just choose, maybe it's not the landing page, maybe it's a key category landing page that you know you're getting a lot of traffic and there's huge bounce rates, or there's some issues that you're seeing, right? And you get that gut sense that, yeah, this page is not performing well. Then you could focus on just an assessment and audit of that one page, and then improve that, and then go, step by step, and then branch out to the other second priority, third priority items that you want to address, right? And so definitely monitor. So even if you're not pursuing a huge redesign and like redevelop your whole site and launch on a new platform or whatever it is that seems daunting, right? You still want to monitor your performance metrics continuously, make those incremental improvements. And so you saw a lot of examples we gave with Imprint Plus, that login naming. So even if we didn't redesign and reposition, but you saw we got the results we did because of that, right? But just renaming it because maybe that the way that portal link and all the hyperlinks and the buttons were named a certain way, and it wasn't specific enough. Maybe that's the low-hanging fruit. You just reword that hyperlink, reword that call to action. And so it could be like small changes that gives you those big quick wins, and then you could get your stakeholders excited and go, hey, if we could do this and get this result with a small win, imagine what we could do if we just, okay, maybe not redevelop the whole site, but then imagine what we could do if we redesign the homepage, right? And then and also speak to your customers. Like if you have Imprint Plus, like that wonderful customer feedback, great relationships with your customers, and you could survey them, then what they say, you will find those alignments with your metrics and go, okay, well, if my data says this, my customers also say the same thing, and you can see that those match, right? Then there's definitely some pain points that you could address in whether it's a small effort like redesign or a bigger one. It's really up to you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's have been really great questions. There are a few more that we didn't get, but unfortunately our time is up, and I apologize for that. We'll do our best to answer them via email in the next few days, so keep an eye on your inboxes. I can't forget about our giveaway that I mentioned at the beginning of our webinar. So let me draw a name here. So let's see. I'm using a very, very unique
High tech.
high tech. I have lots of names here in the papers, so let me check. Okay, just one. And what we did before we start the webinar, we got everyone who registered for the webinar, and then we printed their name, and then who we have here is Zoe Wells from Mancorp. I don't know if you can see, you can't because it's blurring, but it's Zoe from Mancorp. We're gonna get in touch with you. Congratulations on that first, but we're gonna get in touch with you shortly with instructions on how to redeem your UX audit. So thank you very much, Zoe, for attending our webinar today from Mancorp. I'm gonna give you that. Well, I just before we finish to wrap up, remember that a well-designed e-commerce site is key to attracting and retaining customers. Focus on intuitive navigation, engaging homepage designs, and always prioritize the user experience. Thank you all for participating. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our team at info@brandandco.com or Sergio or Mel at brandandco.com. And we hope you found this webinar insightful and that you can apply this best practice on your e-commerce websites as well. Thank you very much. Thanks for attending. Have a good rest of your day and see you soon. Stay tuned because more webinars will be coming from Brand and Code. Thank you. Bye-bye.